Hi, my name's Dave. I'm your host. You're listening to The Last Podcast, where the first shall be last and the last shall be first. If this is your first time listening, welcome. I'm happy you're here. And if you're returning, welcome back. I really appreciate you listening, and I hope you continue to find tips, ideas, and value from listening to this podcast. Now, today is going to be real short because I just had one thought. You know what I wish? I wish that they would teach children about mind work, about thought work, about how to not only deal with your emotions or anything like that, but that too, but also how to think, your thoughts, your actions. I think if you look at all the shootings in schools and everything today, and the anger, the depression, and all the stuff that people are going through with these kids, I mean, it's like an emotional firestorm. I mean, I think they should implement, and this is only my personal opinion, I think they need to implement thought work, how to think, how to deal with your emotions. And your emotions will undoubtedly deal with how you feel, and then your how you feeling is you got to look at your actions and your consequences, and eventually your state of reality. You know, because I don't know what's going through these kids' heads when they just wake up in the morning and say, you know, today's the day I'm gonna go in and shoot up everybody in school, or as many people as I can. I really can't comprehend that. And you know what? We've all been there. We've all been so upset sometimes, and we're enraged. But I don't know about you. I know I've been upset, but never to the point where I'm just going to take it out on total strangers. They had nothing to do with the reason I'm upset or the circumstances I'm going through. Now, I don't know what these kids are thinking. I don't know what they're going through because I haven't walked in their shoes, so I don't know what they're feeling or what they're thinking. However, I do know this. I do know that nobody deserves to be run down, shot, or killed just for no reason at all. Oh, do I believe that somebody should be killed for a reason? I'm not saying that either, but I'm just saying, I don't think that there's enough work in school, or sometimes parents are so busy, even at home, sometimes there's so much going on. We don't have time, right? I don't think anyone is really at fault, but I believe this. I believe if there was more thought work in school on how to deal with your thoughts, how to deal with your anger, your emotions, and your actions. There's got to be more going on, because I think if we were taught some of those things in school, perhaps, maybe things might be a little different. I don't know. And then when you look at the videos, the video games that are out, shoot 'em up and let's kill everything in sight. You know, I don't know if that has some type of implementation for them to go ahead and do this, or you know, or if it prompts them to want to do it. I'm not sure. I don't know what to think, but I know I'm getting doggone baffled by all the shootings, and I know parents are too. And I know that innocent bystanders don't deserve to be gunned down like, you know, dogs in the street. But I don't think anybody does, really. That's just my personal opinion. And you know what? My personal opinion is that it's personal. But I'm just sharing it with you. I don't know what's the deal behind of all the shootings, but I know they seem like they're happening more and more. I mean, is it just me, or am I going crazy? I don't know. But this is my rant for today. I think that there needs to be some more learning in school about thoughts, how we deal with our minds, and so on and so forth, and how to deal with emotions, and it might. And the way the school is gone, they're cutting so many schools, and they don't have enough funds for the schooling, so they have to cut back. There's so much going on, and I don't have an answer. I wish I did, but I don't. And I know there are so many people who have thoughts on this. And if you would like to hit me up at the last podcast 443@gmail.com, I'd love to hear your thoughts. And I think that there needs to be more work in school about thought, about our minds, and about our emotions and things of that nature. And I think when we start to think about that, and you have kids who are just drowning in different types of emotions, and they don't know really how to handle it. And when someone is asking them, like a parent or someone, a loved one, it's like, nothing, what's wrong? Nothing. And something is bothering them, but you just don't know how to drill in. You don't know how to hone in to how to get them to open up. Now, some kids are an open book. If you ask once or twice, they'll probably open the door for you and just let you know what's happening. But some kids are so close knit, it's like hard to get a bead on them, right? I mean, and I'm only seeing this because I've seen it. I've raised kids. I've seen it. I was a kid myself, and I've done it. Somebody asked me something, nothing. And it didn't matter what they said to me. I just, nothing. And when I started to think about it, why? It's because, sometimes I thought maybe they wouldn't understand, maybe they were too old. I don't know. But, or maybe I just didn't have enough trust that they would understand how I truly felt and would know how to help me. And you think about that word trust is so powerful. I'm not saying that they don't trust you as a parent. I'm not saying I didn't trust my adults as parents. Is the fact that I didn't trust them with that specific thing that might have been bothering me. I trust them, yes, with my life, but I didn't trust them with this specific thing about what I was dealing with or what have you. And I know if I felt that way, maybe some kids feel that way too. So how do we get around that, right? How do we get around them saying, I might be a little scared to talk about how I feel, or they might not understand, and nobody seems to understand me, because a lot of kids do feel that way. And then you think, that's why I believe there needs to be more thought work in school, more work on how the mind works, to the point where it's easy for a kid to understand. What are you feeling? You could talk about it. And I know they have all this in school, but there seems to be something missing. There's a disconnect somewhere, because I think, if I would have known back then when I was younger, wait a minute, I could think differently, I could feel differently, I can show up differently, and it didn't matter if someone would laugh at me. And something, when someone laughs at you when you're younger, man, does that sting, right? And even a lot of people go through that as adults. They don't want anybody laughing at them. They don't want anybody talking at them, and they don't even want anybody looking at them all strangely either. So I'm just ranting here. I know I'm not the only one who feels that there needs to be more mental work done for kids in school. And yeah, there is a starting point. What starting point do you think might be good? Maybe 5th and 6th grade? I don't know. Maybe even 4th grade. I don't know. But I do know that there should be something a little more instituted in there. I mean, you got to implement something that will help these young kids from lashing out with guns and knives. There's got to be a better way, and I don't know what that is. And I know that without getting too deep into this, but there's been fighting for too long, and I'm gonna just say it that way. I just wish that there was a better way for kids to release that anger, to release that whatever they're feeling, to cause them to act out in such a violent manner. I think that's probably the best way I can put it. It's funny, I did have something here that I really wanted to talk about, but I never really got into it, so maybe that I'll save that for Wednesday. Hey, listen, do me a favor and subscribe and like this podcast. I really appreciate it. And if you want to get on this podcast with me and talk about a topic, let's do it. And hit me up at thelastpodcast443@gmail.com. I love to hear your thoughts. So long, and don't forget to subscribe. Hold up one moment. Do me a favor. Subscribe right now. Go ahead and subscribe. And like it. So long. Have a great day. Bye-bye.